I need to create a piece of podcast artwork that will promote episode number 17. And one of the ways we like to promote the podcast is a picture of our guests with a quote from the show. And that's what I'm going to create right now. I use a photo editing. It's an online photo editing piece of software called PicMonkey, PicMonkey. They've been around for a while. There's a free version that you can go in and tinker around with. And then there's also a premium side. I actually have been with them so long I subscribe. It's like $7 a month, but there's so much that they offer, and it's so simple. I'm not a Photoshop guy. I don't want to dig deep and get into the weeds of Photoshop. And this is the path of least resistance when it comes to cranking out some quality podcast artwork. So I use PicMonkey, and I'll show you what I do here. And you can pretty much translate this into any Photoshop type software that you use. This is easily transferable. So here's our guests, Annika Bridal. They are on 50th in France in Edina, and they sell very high-end wedding dresses. These are very expensive. I got nervous when I walked in with my coffee. I left it at the entrance. So what I'm going to do is create a piece of podcast art with a quote. And this is how we do it. First thing I'm going to do is square off my ladies. I square them off because that's the kind of photo you want for Instagram and Facebook. A nice square photo. And that is easy enough to do. And there we go. Apply. How does that look? Beautiful. All right. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to head down, and you should go into PicMonkey and fool around with each one of these icons. They all do something pretty cool. I'm going to black and white the photo, and I will tell you why in just a few minutes, but we're going to keep that. So there we go. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get one of my geometric shapes, a square shape, and I'm going to cover my ladies here. Bye-bye. So they're gone. How does that promote the podcast? It doesn't. I'll explain what we're doing here in just a few minutes. Let me change the color to something like this. Well, yeah. No, this. That looks good. That looks good. And then we get here to the fader, and we bring them back. But look, a nice shade of blue. This is why I made them black and white, because if the photo was still color, it might contrast with the blue shade that I'm putting over them. But there we go. And that will make the quote that I'm about to overlay stick out. So what I do is I go in to my notebook, and I get a copy of the quote, and I go over here to add my text. Add text. I have impact already highlighted. I like to use impact, but of course, this is all a matter of personal taste. Whatever you like. Impact seems to stick out. And let's see, how do I highlight this? And turn that white, a nice bright white. See how this is turning out? Move the silver, and there's our quote. In fact, I might enlarge this a little bit so it sticks out even more. Well, let me bring that down. That's almost like it's yelling at someone. There we go. There it is. There's our quote. All right. It's an obsession. We're obsessed with what we do. To be able to live out this dream is amazing. I love that. I love that attitude. All right, a couple more things to do. The next thing I like to do is watermark our photos. I watermark everything, photo, videos, just so people know. EdinaAdviceGivers.com. People know where it's coming from. People can't steal it. Not that I'm afraid of people stealing it, but you never know. There we go. I'm going to turn that white. I'm also going to get one of these premium effects here. It's called a drop shadow. Let it stick out a little more. Okay. There we go. I'm actually going to shrink this down a little bit. And I'm going to put it up in the corner. And I'm going to fade it out. Again, this is all a matter of taste. You fool around, do it the way I want. I just like it to not stick out as much. Just make sure it's up there. There. All right, looking good. So far, beautiful. Last thing we do is we're going to put a logo in here. We go back to get our geometric thingading. And bring it down here. Fit it in. I'm going to add my own overlay. Work parts. There we go. Get the slug. Put it right down there. I'm actually going to shrink it up a little bit. I don't want this to be so overwhelming. I just want it down there on the bottom. So there you go. You got a nice blue shade. You got our guests. You've got their quote. It's an obsession. We're obsessed with what we do. You've got the little watermark up there. And I'm going to save this to my computer. And I'm going to post it to Facebook and Instagram to promote the latest episode. There you go. So if you have any questions, let me know. We'll try to answer as much as possible. But that's how I do quoted artwork for our podcast.